I feel like I just don't trust anybody, and that isn't good. But it also puts you in a situation where like you can't get hurt, and that's definitely a coping mechanism.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, guys, welcome back to the show. I'm Mario.
And I'm Peter.
And we're Guys That Listen. On today's episode, we got a very special guest, Mike.
Welcome to the show.
Tell us a little about yourself.
My name's Mike. Grew up in Huntington Beach, lived in California pretty much my whole life. Lived, I guess, just a pretty boring childhood. Standard, nothing too crazy, you know. Had a good family. Grew up, went to private school kid until graduated high school, and then did the whole 4-year college thing at Cal State Fullerton.
Oh, nice.
Continued with a little extra college after that, and got bored, and then somehow wound up working in the clothing industry.
Were you always into clothing, though?
It kind of morphed into that based on the needs of one of my friends. So I grew up, I was really into photography.
Okay, nice.
Like kind of in middle school, going into high school, I took some photography classes, and I kind of just did it, you know, on my own as a hobby. And then my friend kind of started his own clothing brand, Jim. Was like, hey, like, you want to come by and take some pictures? And one thing led to another, and I just kept coming by. And he was like, hey, like, I'm paying all these guys all this money to do like graphic design for my t-shirts. And I was like, hey, like, I can do graphic design. And, you know, I could at the time, I guess. It was, you know, it was a quick learning curve. And then that got into doing graphic design for his t-shirts and, you know, learning, I guess, the whole process of how to use Adobe Illustrator and how that translates into a t-shirt. And then from there, just kept learning. I was like hungry because it was something I was good at, but I just didn't know that much about it. And so I just went on YouTube University and was just consuming everything that I could about anything graphic design related, even if it was like, I'm probably never going to use this. Like, I just wanted to know the ins and outs of the Adobe suite, I guess.
Yeah.
And then still continued to do photography along with that. And then that just opened doors to, you know, other people with similar interests and just kept growing, I guess.
Nice. Wow, that's wild. It's one of the first times I hear someone gets into like the clothing industry without really a prior interest. But then once you get into it, then you just like absorb everything and you're learning so much and you don't even know if you're ever going to use it. And you find yourself like here, like still now working in like clothing.
Yeah. And I don't really ever see myself doing anything different, I guess, in terms of like 9 to 5 work, if you will.
Yeah.
But I'm not opposed to the idea of change. I'll just kind of see what happens.
Yeah.
Where did it lead you to becoming so immersed in graphic design after, I mean, I'm assuming you eventually left that company?
No, I still actually help him. His shop's over in Santa Ana. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And so to this day, it's really, I don't want to say it's just me and him. From my standpoint, it's just me and him, but I know that there's other people that help him as well, you know, with like video and, you know, getting his stuff up, doing the back end. I just don't know the intricacies of that because it doesn't involve me. So I don't want to make it sound like it's just me and him.
Yeah.
You know,
So it's just you and him.
Sometimes it seems like that. No, but it's just, he's been somebody that I feel like a sense of loyalty to because he kind of gave me the opportunity. Like, he trusted me with his money in the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I had his best interests at heart. But he kind of gave me the opportunity, introduced me to people who then introduced me to other people. And he's just always had my back, and I've always had his. So I feel this sense to not like leave him behind.
Yeah.
Not that he couldn't find anybody else that does exactly what I do, but I just feel like that's my friend. Like, I've known him since we were in like 7th grade.
Oh, wow.
That's your
You
brother.
guys go way back.
Yeah. And like
His
we played football together like back in the day. And so I was like, I want to see him eat, basically. And, you know, so unless he literally is just like, yo, like, I don't want you to do this for me anymore, I'll be like, okay, bro, like, that's your decision. Like, there's no hard feelings there at all. It's just if he feels like this other person represents better what the brand has going for them, by all means, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I want what's best for you.
Is there a goal you have in mind together that you guys have in mind for the brand?
I feel like we both just like making cool shit.
I love that.
So it's like, it's not necessarily like you make stuff with your customer in mind, but not necessarily for your customer.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I guess different people subscribe to different philosophies when it comes to that. But it's like, if I'm making something that I'm not going to wear, then what's the point?
Yeah.
Like, to me, that's kind of, you're just like chasing the bag.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, you can do. Like, you can just go on eBay and look at all the vintage shirts that just sold and like make something that's super similar, which is fine. There's nothing against that. That's just not what I like to do.
Yeah.
Like, I like to do something that, one, fits like his brand, and two, the customer will also like, but also that we would wear. Because again, like, I could sit there and rip designs all day and never wear it, and yeah, it would make a lot of money, but like, it'd be like soulless almost. Like, there's nothing like vested in there. It's just like, all right, like, yeah, it's almost like extortion at that point. It's like, yeah, just give us your money, like, we don't care about you. But no, like, I want to make like the highest quality for the best price, and something that other people would be like, yeah, like, I fuck with this, like, I like this.
Or make cool shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much. That's
What's the brand?
his brand is Rare Breed Life.
This episode is sponsored by Rare Breed Life.
Kevin doesn't know that yet. Sorry, bro.
Hey, that's so interesting because, like, speaking about the loyalty that you have to him, obviously he's your brother, and I'm very loyal to a lot of my friends too. And the reason why he's able to have you around for so long is you're loyal because you feel like a little bit indebted to him. Like, oh, he put me on, he trusts me with all this. Would you say you wouldn't be here without him? Like, where you're at?
That's hard to say. I wouldn't say I necessarily feel indebted to him. Like, he put me on, but like, I was the person who actually went and got it. So like, he presented the opportunities to me, and I'll forever be thankful for that. But like, I was the one who kind of solidified my position with everybody else. So it's not necessarily like a debt as it is. I don't know necessarily the word I'm looking for.
I mean, I feel like you have a sense of loyalty because he gave you the opportunity, and that's pretty much it. Because you're the one who went and studied all the graphic design. You're the one who went to do YouTube University. You didn't have to do that, you know?
No, yeah, exactly. And that's like, again, like, I'm very thankful, and I'll forever be like loyal to him and want what's best for him. But I wouldn't say that I feel like in debt, if that makes sense.
Or do you feel like, because if I was in your position, and this is speaking for myself, right? I think at maybe a certain point I would feel like that, but I would feel like I've paid off my dues. Like, I paid off my debt. And like, I'm here on my own accord, and I stand on my own 2 feet. So it's not necessarily that like you're maybe, or at least myself, I would be any longer in debt to him. But at one point I would feel like that, and that there's a reason why I'm here. It's not just because of him. Like, I put myself out there to go get it and make something out of myself. And it just kind of goes back to what we talked about this, like, off camera, where it's like people don't want to chalk things up to luck, especially when it comes to like success, because, you know, they just don't want to use that as a variable. But, you know, a lot of life is luck, right? A lot of business and success is luck. And it really is just opportunity meets preparation. And that's what you kind of did,
That's what
right?
luck is.
So, yeah. And to hear you explain this now, it's like, because earlier we were like relating to it, I can kind of see it from your experience now, which makes a lot of sense.
I guess if I ever did feel like I was in debt to him, I feel like we're square now.
Oh, yeah.
But that doesn't change the loyalty aspect of it. I'm not trying to just take money out of bro's pocket just because I know that he can turn around and sell this.
Yeah, yeah.
But like, at the same time, like, I don't do my stuff for free.
Yeah.
And so
exactly.
everybody eats. And I just feel like that's what's the most important for maintaining that relationship as healthy as it's been for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
That's important, actually. I feel like the best kind of like business relationships are the ones where you both eat and you have like both a good amount on your plate that you can eat. Because I feel like when I do business, like, it's like, you know, you want to make sure that the people you work with, they're getting their money and you're getting your money as well. And it's hard to find that sometimes where it's like people are greedy and want to take the most, you know, and like maybe you don't need as much. But I think that's what makes a difference between like good relationships where like, you both are getting paid, you're both working on what you want to do, and together you can like both eat.
Yeah, and I feel like people really get hung up on who's getting paid the most, which if you really take a step back and look at it, it comes down to, I guess, like the roles that you play. And I can't speak on your behalf, but I can speak on mine, is where like he's the one who took the risk, started his own business, put himself out there, and was successful with it. And it didn't happen overnight. So it took him, 7-8 years to build up to what he is now. And so if I'm going to design something for him that I know he's, say, going to make $10,000 of profit on, like, I don't expect to make $10,000.
Yeah.
Like, I helped him out, and you can sit there and get jealous and be like, oh, well, like, he's doing this, he's doing that. It's like, if you want to make $10,000 a month from, like, one client, you need to provide them with $200,000 of value.
True.
Because if he's making 10 and I'm making 10, then that's a 50-50 split. He might as well just sign over half the company to me. You know what I mean? I guess from like the clothing standpoint, you need to look at like cost of goods.
Yeah.
In terms of like X, Y, or Z. So if he's making, if he's going to make $10,000 of profit, I might get $500.
Yeah.
Which, for the effort that I put in, I need to sit there and be like, is this worth my time?
Yep.
Is this worth it for me for this result? And sometimes it is, and sometimes it isn't. And I just feel like if the respect is mutual, where it's like, hey, like this, honestly, I can't continue to do this because I'm losing money, then there's a lot of things that can happen, but it's important that everybody understands that. Where it's not like a selfish thing where I'm not expecting to make a ridiculous check from you.
Yeah.
But like, I can't continue to do this, at least with this level of attentiveness or this level of response or turnaround time. Like, if you want to be the priority, then I have to be getting at least enough to live off of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That makes sense. I mean, it's kind of like knowing your self-worth, what you're putting into, the effort you're putting in. So has that led you to other projects and other things to go beyond that company?
I mean, I would say I work with 3 people primarily. One of which I was introduced to by Kevin, and one of which was just complete luck. Still don't know how it happened. So the other company that I guess I would say is my 9 to 5 is a shoe company in weightlifting. And I do the apparel design for that. I kind of handle all of the domestic manufacturing for it and some overseas stuff, but there's other people in place for that are way better than I am. And then through there, that actually led me to buy the screen print company that I had been using for a couple of years. And then while I owned that, I made the third connection. And that's just been insane ever since then.
Wow.
Sold the screen print company back to the original owner. Still use it for a route of manufacturing. And then just help. I mean, like I said, I work with those 3 people, but I help people around them as well.
Yeah.
If they're like, hey, this is the guy who does this for me, and they're like, hey, like, Adam told me that you do this. Like, can you help me with that? I'm like, yeah, bro, let's do it. Like, and again, like, you look at everything for what it's worth, and if you sit there and charge everybody $5,000 just for texting you, then nobody's really going to want to work with you.
Damn.
So, and there's people like that, like, oh, my consulting fee for me having a meeting with you is $3,000. And I'll just be like, bro, just call me. Like, we can talk. Like, I'm not that busy.
He's actually charging us $3,000 for this episode.
6, because there's 2 of you.
Damn.
That's wild, though. So you sold the screen company back to the original owner.
Yeah.
How does that even work? Like, did he reach out to you or him or her? Like,
It was kind of mutual. So he's been in the game for probably longer than I've been alive.
oh, wow.
And he was just kind of like over running the business, like just the business side of things. And so I was like, hey, like, why don't I come in, like, help build everything up? Maybe we can get you into a new space or this, that, and the other. And he was with it. And then through there was able to kind of like use the ownership of that to leverage more jobs, I guess, obviously, because it's like, oh, hey, like, yeah, I do graphic design for them, but I also own like the print company.
Yeah.
And then it just got to the point where the retainer that I was getting from certain people, in my eyes, I wasn't holding up my end of the deal with them.
Oh, wow.
Not that they weren't getting their product or anything, but it was like, look, if you're paying me this, like, I don't feel like I'm giving you enough attention in the day.
Wow.
And so we had a meeting, and basically I was like, yo, like I still want all of the same pricing that, you know, I would get. I'm going to sell it back to you. Like, you have a new spot now. You have, you know, another employee to help you out.
Nice.
Like, it's a bigger space, so you can take on bigger work and more work. And he has somebody subleasing out the other space, so he doesn't have that huge lease payment on his own. And I was like, I'll continue to go to you as long as as long as we maintain a healthy working relationship.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
Nice. Wow. You leveraged that spot to like keep that pricing low at the same time. Now you know you can fulfill the rest of your duties to everyone else that you're working with, because now you got extra time. You're not running that whole business, and that's crazy because you at one point, and I'm not saying that you're no longer, but like you made yourself more of a valuable asset, right? You weren't just a graphic designer. You also were the guy that would connect you with like the printing company, right? With the units and with the pricing. And I feel like that's not something a lot of people do. Like some people will be stuck at graphic design, like, and not to say that there's anything wrong with that, because obviously there's some great graphic designers out there that will make a grip load of money, but they differentiate themselves. Well, you differentiate yourself by also adding on something to your repertoire, right? Which is understanding the other side of the business, the printing side, which is crucial to merch.
I think that there's just a huge disconnect, at least in the industry, between graphic designers and like manufacturing. And I recognized that early because I didn't know shit about screen printing.
Yeah.
And so I'd be sending the printer like this crazy ass like 300 color design. And he's just like, or is what it like broke down to. And he'd just be like, bro, like we can't do this. And I'm like, what do you mean? Just put it on there. Like I didn't know. So like I just texted him one day, and like I used to just go to his shop and watch and just be like, oh, okay, so like this is why, you know, 8 colors is more expensive than 1 color, is because it takes you 5 times longer to set it up.
Yeah.
And all of these materials are expensive. And so I feel like if you're going to be like, not that all graphic designers have to know screen printing, but if you're graphic designing for print, you should know, at least in general, how it works. You don't need to know like additives and like crazy stuff like that, but it's just like you should generally know how screen printing works.
I agree with that. I feel like in business, just in general, like in any business, even though, let's say, for instance, you know, I run this event company, right? Like I personally don't DJ myself, but I always think that I should kind of understand how everything works. You know, what wires go where, what you need for power, you know, what are the moving pieces to this, you know, because before I used to be like, oh, just show up here and play music. And then I was like, oh, why can't you just show up? Oh, don't have the same equipment. Oh, different DJs use different kind of equipment. You know, it's like what you're asking for they possibly can't do. So I was like, oh, I actually need to know all sides of the business instead of just being the middleman to everything, you know? And just like that, like, you know, going back to screen printing, you know, I've you know, dipped my hand in merch, and I've had the same like realization where, oh shit, why can't I afford to make this $8 8-color shirt and sell it for like $30? Because it doesn't make sense, right? The numbers don't add up. And then you go there and you kind of understand why minimums are a thing, right? Or why if you order more, it gets cheaper. Yeah, it's for anyone who doesn't know. Like when you make a screen, they charge you for the screen. So, you know, they could, I don't know what the prices are now, but, you know, I've had screen printers charge me like $20 to $30 for a screen. And each screen you use for a specific color. And they could change up to where you have different tones. But let's say you have a red, that screen's going to cost you like $20, $25. And then if you have like also blue, that screen's going to cost you $20, $25. And you print on one shirt, so they run the screen 2 times, right, for both colors, and it's a $5 shirt. Your shirt alone already costed you like 60 something bucks, because now you have the 2 screens that you got to pay for, the cost of the shirt, and for them to do the labor, right? So that's why now the screen's already done. But if you order more shirts, now you only need to pay for the cost of basically doing the labor. And that's what a lot of people don't know, because when you throw in colors and throw in designs, you think it's just like, oh, you just put it in. Unless it's direct to garment. And that's another totally different thing, right?
Yeah, that's a completely different, I guess, machine in and of itself, which there's pros and cons to each. And it's kind of, it's like an internal knowledge. And that sounds kind of like cringy, but you just learn like when you're going to need to use DTG and when you can use screen printing.
So just to put it out there, direct to garment is a printer where you put your clothes printer or your whatever piece of merch you're trying to make, and then it prints onto the garment. But then that produces different results than screen printing, right? Traditional screen printing has different benefits for different reasons. So it's like how you were saying, you learn through the experience, and then you kind of know which one makes sense. Like for DTG, it makes a lot of sense to do multicolor because you could do a bunch of colors and it just prints on. You don't have to burn like a screen for every single color, right? So if you know that after going through that experience, you're like, oh, okay, this is not the right medium to use to produce like this kind of garment. But at the same time, it's like the industry feels like it's changing so much that it's moving a lot faster now. I feel like direct to garment was never good enough for a long ass time for it to be really viable, Usually what people use direct to garment for a lot of times is if they want to do like a one-off, right? So like let's say you want to make like a shirt that says like
live fast, eat ass.
You live fast, eat ass or something like that. You do direct garment because like there's that cost of the screen is not just that, and so you just print out on a shirt, design gets loaded, and that's it. But like that's not something that people know because regular consumers, all they see is the final product, right? Like we actually get to see the insides of it, like how it functions, the moving parts. And to us now it makes sense. Now I'm like, oh, that's why people price certain things so expensive. I mean, there's still certain things I still don't understand where I'm like, okay, we just paid like $150 for a white t-shirt. Like that, I'm like, that's just marketing. That's just branding. You know what I mean? Like I can't justify it exactly, Like if you got money, fucking do it. But still at the same time, like, damn, that's a totally different animal. Because now because this is what I'm seeing from the way you talk about business. It seems very it doesn't sound like capitalism, right? Like you're not like, let me gouge these people for as much money as I can make. You're like, I want to make the best garment for the lowest price for someone that like really enjoys it. Complete opposite, right? But at the same time, that's the way your business runs. That's the way all of the businesses that you've been working with runs, I'm assuming, right? And there's the opposite way where it's like the main focus is not maybe even on the quality. It's just on like how it's perceived. And I feel like that's really, really different for people to understand when you go out and you see someone buy like a $150 white t-shirt. Because I understand where you're coming from more because I always grew up as that consumer. Like I just want something dope, something that's like nice, something that I just enjoy that I would wear, That's really the way I think about business, at least when it comes to like merch. But do you think now, being the person that you are, you don't work on making the most out of like each garment, like as far as like making the most money? When you see those people do that, what's your thought process? Can you justify it yourself, or is it just like, oh, that's just a different side of the coin?
I can justify it, and I think it's a different side of the coin in the same stroke. So, I mean, it honestly depends. So, like, there's some companies that manufacture solely in LA. Everything is made in US.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a hell of a lot cheaper, or a hell of a lot more expensive than manufacturing overseas, whether it be in South or Central America or China or anywhere in Asia. So, I can get, say, a hoodie, do a one-color print on it, be out the door, bagged, label, everything for $17. Mm-hmm. And then, turn around and sell that for $65, $70. Simple. And, just like a word mark something.
Yeah.
But then, since everything for them is custom, say, manufactured in the U.S., they're going to be paying for the factory in the U.S. to do it. And then they have to source all the material. They have to sew it. They have to pay the cutter. They have to pay the pattern maker. They have to pay the screen printer. And then they have to pay the factory again for assembling the garment. Mm-hmm. And then the factory is going to put 20% on everything that everybody else does because it's their time. And, like phone calls take up time. And if you're paying your employees hourly, then that's what you have to do. So then you're out the door finished at $60. And it's like, okay, now you're going to 2X it or you're going to 3X it. And that's up to you. Like, I'm not going to tell you you can only make this much or you can only 2X or you can only 3X. But if it's costing you $60 out the door, then, is it worth selling it for 120? Or are you going to want to sell it for 180?
Yeah, sometimes even more than that.
Yeah, I mean, 300.
Yeah.
I've used hoodies that I've sold for less than $100 being sold for $300 and people buying them just because of the name that's on it.
Yeah.
Which, like, who am I to say that that's wrong? Like, that's just not me.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it's kind of played out. I guess if I'm going to sell something, I don't care if it sells out, but I don't want the limited availability to be because of the price. Like, if some kid wants to buy it, I want him to be able to buy it. But, like, how many people can really sit there and afford a $300 hoodie? That means you just got $900 in the bank that's just chilling, that you don't give a fuck what happens to it. And you're going to spend a third of it on a hoodie. I mean, again, I'm not going to tell anybody what to do with their money.
Yeah.
But to me, that's kind of wild.
That's crazy.
There are people like that. They'll spend every single dime on just like clothes that try to represent something. And I feel like that is a huge part in like marketing, you know? Where it's like, why do you perceive this to be $300 and why are you willing to spend it in order to, you know, show that you represent this brand, even though like you might be going broke doing it. And again, you know, I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money. That's the way I think. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to put myself in a struggle situation to get like a hoodie that to me might represent something, unless it's something that maybe, you know, another argument would be like if it's something that will last you for your whole life, right? Something you're going to keep with you forever. Because at least that's been my mindset. Like, I don't really buy stuff anymore where I know probably 2 or 3 months down the line, I'll probably not get wear it again. You know what I mean? Like, I actually have pieces that I've had for over like 10 years. And I'm like, okay, I'd probably could have this for another 10 years, you know, or 30 or 40 until it like falls apart. But I think that's really, I don't know if that's like an adult thing. I don't know if it's just me getting older, but definitely I don't follow the trends nearly as much. So I just kind of want to keep everything that I have as long as I possibly can. What do you guys think?
I think you're cheap.
I mean, there's that too.
I mean, I just think that there's a lot more to buying clothes than wearing it. Because, like, I have a homie who he may spend a gang of money on something that I would never, but he collects. He doesn't even wear it. It's like, they're like art pieces to him. Or it'd be like a limited edition shirt that he has from like 2012 that, you know, you can go on eBay and find it for $500, but he doesn't care. Like, he has that shirt and it's like in his closet in a bag.
Oh,
it's
wow.
perfect, like pristine. And that's his thing.
Yeah.
And again, nobody's wrong for doing anything, but like, that's just not my thing. So if you're going to buy a $300 hoodie for like the collectible value of it, that's totally fine. That's not what I guess my aim is. Now, if the price is justifiable at $300 because I put, you know, a year's worth of R&D into this project and, you know, each unit cost me $120 because of the material I selected, it's really good quality, then yeah, I'm going to sell it for $300.
That makes sense.
And you're going to get something that's really good quality. But again, I kind of laugh on the inside when I see hoodies that I've made for people, and then I see another company using the same exact hoodie for, you know, 6 times the price. And
You mean same exact like brand?
like the same exact blank.
Same exact blank. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I mean, you stare at stuff long enough, you can pick it out.
Yeah.
You know that, like, oh, there's like a side gusset on this. Like, that's what this is. Or that's how the eyelets are. Oh, that's this.
Yeah.
And, you know, some people are so lazy, they don't even take, like, the manufacturer's tag out. And I'm like, that's kind of disrespectful.
So I wanted to ask you about that third company you said you're working with. You could talk a little about that.
The third company is a company called Foul Play. So I help with, I would say, most of the domestic manufacturing for Foul Play, and then some small overseas projects. But mostly on anything that's printed or embroidered domestically, I'm the one who they trust to do that.
What's your role exactly?
Sizing everything. I guess when I get the tech packs from Adam, I make sure that, one, it's actually possible, and he's very knowledgeable about the industry. So he normally doesn't send me anything that's not possible. But not only possible in terms of like, can we print this, but is it cost effective to print this way, or should we do it this way? Because to a certain extent, size does play a role in printing.
Oh.
Yeah. But it's the motion of the ocean. So there's like a set size limit in terms of like width and height and stuff like that. And then once you go over that, at some shops it's more expensive, and at the shop I use it is more expensive. And then managing the production, and then depending on the turnaround time that he needs stuff, I either forward it out to Phoenix for him, or I just drive it, save him some money.
Okay.
Wow.
And then rinse and repeat month after month, year after year. And then he has a lot of friends around him that do something similar. So we all work with each other to some extent. And there's some times where, they'll use somebody else. So it's, it's fine. Everybody eats. And at the root of it, I just want everybody to succeed. And so whether they use me or not, as long as they're succeeding, then that's what it's about. Like,
is that common? Like, because we talked a little bit this about off camera about the culture there, just where like everybody gets to eat. Is that something that's just in this business that you've worked with, in just this company, or is that something that's part of like the culture in all these other companies you've worked at?
It's not like a standard, but you can find it, and when you find it, it's important to hold on to it. Because they're not necessarily companies that you're going to retire with, like in terms of like the compensation that you're getting for your work. Like, you get what's fair, and then they get what's fair. Because again, it's about the risk that you're taking versus the risk that they had to take to get there. And so, I may front $10,000 for a capsule, let's just say, for handling all of the setup and manufacturing. But I'm taking no risk because I know that I'm at least getting paid that back. And so it's not like it didn't cost me anything. It cost me credit card points.
Yeah.
And like there's no risk there. But then when you really sit back and look at it, it's like, damn, like all of this for this month cost, $45,000. So they need to at least make $45,000 to break even.
Yeah.
And then after that, maybe profit. But then you have to pay your production manager, you have to pay your photographer, you have to pay your warehouse staff, you have to pay for shipping, you have to pay for the materials to ship it in. So like, add another 20 grand on top of that. So now you need to make $65,000 off of this 40,000 or 45,000 that you leveraged up front before you can even start thinking about how much money you're going to make yourself. And so when everybody understands everything that goes into it, it works really well. Because nobody's sitting there being like, I only got this much, I only got that much. Like, I'm not going to put that much effort into it. And it's just like, look, bro, like if you want to make that much more money, then put the effort in to get the company to doing, $400,000 or $500,000 a month. And I promise you, nobody's going to complain that you're getting paid 10 grand.
You seem very knowledgeable about so many aspects of like the industry. Do you consider yourself like a veteran at this point?
No.
And do you still? No, that was quick.
No.
How do you see yourself in this company that you're working at, like in terms of like your experience and knowledge? Then,
bro, I'm the shittiest person at everything. Like everybody that is there in that group is better than I am at everything that I do. Like, I manage production, which plays a small role in, I guess, actually running the company. But like, Adam's a way better designer than I am, way better businessman than I am. Dario's a way better photographer. Manny's a way better warehouse manager and designer. Jordan's a way better designer. Like, that whole team is better than me at everything. And then I'm just cool with it because I get to sit there and learn and like pick and choose little stuff. And it's not like you get introduced to a circle like this and they just give you all this secretive information about like, oh, this is how we design. This is how we do this. You know, it's like you put the effort in. So like, if I was to design something and I say, send it to Manny or Adam, be like, yo, what do you guys think of this? They'll be like, oh, I would add this or that and then like warp it like this. And it's like, oh, okay. And then you like do it and they're like, yeah, like, and then you look at it and you're like, oh, damn, like this is actually like way better this way. Or like, I like it way more, or it completes the design. And so it's not like that's free information, but it's not like they're just sitting there being like, this is how you do this. Like they just give you their honest feedback. And if you're, I guess, a sponge and you're soaking it all up, then you get better. And that's the whole point of all of this is becoming better, because then everything grows. And if the bottom line is to make more money, then grow. Don't just sit there and expect to be paid more, I guess.
Is that what you've always been like? Because you said, like, you know, when you got into, when your homie gave you a shot and you started graphic designing for him, you were just like YouTube University, going in all this. Like, is that just an aspect of your personality you've always had? Or do you have down moments too where you're like, fuck, I'm the shittiest person here?
I mean, it's not all like highs. Like there's some times where like everybody questions their own work at some point, and in some cases like the most critical. But I guess like I'll just sit there and I'll be like, this photo's shit. And then my friend will be like, what are you talking about? I'll be like, look at this. I'll be like, you like can't even tell. So I mean, you're your own worst critic. But I guess in my opinion, it's better than just being your own yes man. Like everything you do is perfect, when it's probably not, or it could be better. But yeah, that group it's an anomaly in and of itself. Like just a great group of humans. Like even on a personal level, like those are my friends, not just like people I do business with. You know what I mean? Like, so like I want to do well because it's my friend, not just a paycheck every month. Yeah. Type shit. So I would say I can only speak from my experience though, in terms of like, is that how it is everywhere? With the 3 companies that I primarily work with, yeah. But I feel like that's why I primarily work with them. And then that's not to say that like, you know, other people that come in from those spheres are any different. It's just, I would say they're my friends, but it's more transactional. Like they're not as involved in running a brand. But they still do it, like, I guess whenever they want to, or whenever they come up with a new idea, cool. And I haven't met anybody who is very greedy in that sense, where it's just like, oh, I just want all the money and I'm not going to take care of you at all. Not to say that they don't exist, I just haven't met them. But I've also worked with 3 companies out of the thousands that exist, so take that for what it's worth, I guess.
Yeah. You know, it seems like you're a very, like, you love to, like, learn. That's what I'm getting from you, because, well, you went to school, and then you went into all these businesses, and you took classes on YouTube, and then you go to the print shop, and you watch them, and, again, you're surrounded by this group of people who you're learning so much from. And, you know, I'm going to take it a little different way, but, like, we've talked about business and we talked about work in the clothing industry. Are you like that in relationships, too? Like, you're always, like, keeping your eyes open, ears open. You're kind of trying to learn about the other person, about yourself.
Oh, man. I'm always trying to better myself, for myself. And for now, my wife. I guess looking back, I was always very observant of, I guess, women. Not in like a creepy way, but like I wouldn't ever like make the first move or go and talk. I would just be like you can tell a lot by how people talk and their interactions with other people and their interactions with like a different group. Like, are they the same person or are they different? Or, you know, who is this really?
Like, what was your journey through dating then? You know, I mean, you said you've always been observant of women and like how they act, and you're not the first one to approach. I'm very similar in that way, but I don't feel like I feel like I had my learning curve is a very it's not great. You know, I'm constantly always trying to figure things out, and that's because I've learned that people are so different, and as the time goes on, like people change, and not only does the people change, but the world changes, right? Like dating now is different than dating back then. And you said you have a wife, you're married. How long have you guys been married?
Since August of last year.
August of last year. Okay.
congrats.
Newly married. Congrats. Congrats.
Thank you.
How long have you guys been together?
Since 2 or 3 years before that.
Okay, nice. And were you dating prior to that, or just like here and there, very sporadically? Wasn't really a focus.
I was in a long-term relationship that ended, still open-ended. I still don't know.
What?
Bro, I never got the closure from it.
What?
So,
Like any closure.
no,
Wait, so
Like,
you
yeah,
might
no.
still be dating?
I think it's officially over. It's been a couple years, but no, it was like 4 or 5 year relationship, and then just ghosted, bro. Ghosted.
Moved ghosted.
Yeah.
What? So I mean, obviously you didn't get your closure, but did you make attempts of like trying to figure out what the hell happened?
Yeah, but I mean, there's only so much like reaching out you can do before you just feel like a dipshit.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, 4 or 5 year relationship, I can understand that if it was like maybe a half year relationship, but 4 or 5 years, your life must be somewhat like intermingled, right? You probably have similar friends or have met the family members. So, you know, maybe not directly reaching out to her, but you could be like, hey, Brad, like, do you know what happened to whoever's? Like, she hasn't responded to any of my things for the past, like, 4 days, a week. Because I know for a fact that you're not alone in this because I've heard about other people talking about it. But I just never know, like, how do you follow up? Like, if that happens to me, I think I would probably, especially if it's been a while, I would be worried. First of all, I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, not even worried about me as in, like, did I do something wrong? But I'd be like, is this person alive? Like, did something happen to them? You know? I'm sure there's a lot that runs through your mind when something like that happens, right?
Yeah. I guess, like, looking back after you're not emotionally involved in the situation anymore, you start to see things that were red flags that you didn't really care about. But I guess I've just always been I'm not the jealous type or the, like, creepy stalker type to where it's like, oh, you haven't texted me in 3 hours? What are you doing? Like, I don't fucking care. Like, you have your own life to live. Like, get back to me. We can hang out when we hang out. But, she would always come over to, like, my house and hang out with my family, and, like, it would be fine. And she wasn't from here. She was from up north. And so, like, going up on a 9-hour drive to hang out with her family wasn't really an option every Saturday, you know what I mean? But she was quite a bit older than I was, too. So I was 18, and she was 24, 25. Which, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, isn't that much of an age difference. But when you're 18 and she's 25,
Yeah,
that's
it's-
like
Yeah.
completely different life.
Yeah.
And so it was always weird whenever I would go over to her place. And without getting into too much detail,
No,
I would
all
just
the detail.
all the details, bro. You're gonna make me. I mean, I'm over it. Best to you if you ever see this and you know your name, but fuck you.
Yes!
You finally get to say, wow,
This is the closure!
this is the closure.
Nah, I think what it
man.
came down to is like she was married, and then I was the side piece forever.
Whoa.
Bro, I've never met anybody. Like, I thought I was, like, pretty good with mind games. But, like, looking back, I was like, you got fucking schooled. And, like, learned from the best on how to play the game. Wow. And, yeah, it was fucking weird when I finally came to that realization. Because I was just sitting there going back and forth with my friend about it. And he's the one who brought it up. And I was just like, oh, you're fucking, wait, you may be on something. Because there was a couple times where, it was odd how she acted, but again, I was just like, I don't like consume myself with those thoughts because it's just self-destructive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna cheat, you're gonna cheat, bro. Like,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
You've never tried to track her down or anything, or
For what?
I mean, not now, but like back then, like right after it happened.
I mean, there was obviously like me reaching out, but
Yeah.
she made it pretty clear that, yo, we're done.
Was there like a fight or anything at least beforehand? Nothing.
Nah, bro.
Oh, man.
It was on my parents' anniversary.
Oh.
So at the time, I was working at the hospital and was somehow able to finesse 3 weeks off, which still don't know how that happened. And the only reason I remember it is because I was supposed to go out for New Year's and up with her in Northern California. And she was already there with her family. And I had gotten my PTO or whatever. And my parents' anniversary is the 27th of December. And I was at dinner with them. Car was all packed. I was ready to go. And then I just get the text like, yo, don't come. Like, all this shit. Like, we're done. I was like, what the fuck? Like, not only was like, I hurt. I was like, bro, I just burned 3 weeks of PTO. Like, but yeah. And then that was literally, like, there was like a little back and forth, but that was it.
You ever after that?
Never fucking saw her again.
Oh, so I'm gonna ask you this: what was the timeline between her and your now wife? Like, was there a year gap, 2 year gap, 3 year gap?
I would say it was like 2 years, maybe 3 years.
So down 2 3 years, and because I'm trying to understand it. I feel like if I was in your situation, I would be fucked up for a little while. You know, like I'll kind of give you some context. Like I got out of like a 4 year one right now, and I haven't even like thought about dating really. And it's been like a year and a half almost. So very similar situations, right? But mine didn't end like that. So I feel like I got the closure. You know, I just need to like move on and take my time with myself. But if I was in a relationship where it's like I didn't really fully get the closure, and not only that, but it's like through a circumstance of like cheating, I would have to take a lot of time to heal. You know, and it seems like if you got into another relationship and now she's like your wife, there must have been either a lot of healing going on within those 1 or 2 years, or this person, your now wife, just happened to help you through a lot of it.
So it was like weird. So after it happened, obviously I was fucked up like anybody would be.
Yeah.
You can say, oh, I don't care. Like, but like deep down, like
Yeah.
that shit hurt. And one of my really good friends in college, actually like one of my only friends from college, was like concerned. Not that I was gonna do anything dumb, but just like, yo, like you should probably like talk to somebody about this. Like it's not good to like hold it in.
Yeah.
And we had the same sports psychology professor, or the same sports psychology class with the same professor. She was like, why don't you go talk to her? And I was like, I don't need fucking therapy. Like that's, you know, like I just wasn't about it. And then she just kept saying it and saying it and saying it. And then I was like, fuck, fine. Like I'll go like talk with her. And like she had like set the whole thing up like for me already.
Oh,
That's a
wow.
good friend.
That's a good ass
That's
friend.
a good ass friend.
She's like one of the best friends I ever had. Shouts out to Ari.
Hey, shouts
Ari?
to Ari.
Ari.
Shout out to Ari.
Yeah, she married a Navy SEAL and they're fucking killing it in Texas.
Nice.
So, and what it boiled down to is like, I went maybe like 6 or 7 times and just talked to this professor because she was really cool and like just down to earth, not judgy or anything. And it just narrowed down to like, you guys had, you know, different values in life. And I feel like just accepting that made it, like it oversimplified it, but it made it easy to accept, where it was just like, she didn't value me the way that I valued her. And that's fine. And just like being okay with that. Not that it makes the way anything went down okay, but like just looking at it in simple terms like that helped a lot. And then with my wife now, it was like we valued each other the same. Like everything everything that needed to match up matched up. Obviously, like we fight and bicker and like all that shit, but that's normal.
Yeah.
But the big things matched up. And so I guess that's what was different and what helped me get through it. Where it was just looking at it in very simple terms, where it's just values. Like you can't take it personally per se, even though it's very personal.
Yeah.
But like it may have not been you. It may have just been like they didn't value you the way that you valued them.
Yeah.
So it was a mix match of expectations.
Sometimes that's all it is. Like you just need to shift your perspective and realize, like for you, it was like, oh, this person has different values, you know, and that does help you heal. That does help you like get over like, you know, emotional trauma.
Yeah.
Was there anything else that helped? Anything else you did, or did you have any? Did you spiral at all?
I actually did the reverse. I actually got sober.
Oh,
It was like right around the end of the relationship.
yeah.
Is when I stopped drinking. I shouldn't say I'm sober. I don't drink. But I wouldn't say I spiraled. I just became very like focused, like honed, and translates into other things like school and YouTube University and shit. But I feel like it helped express that like very type A personality of like being in control of the situation and not like controlling people, but like the situation itself. And like always coming prepared and having a backup plan and a backup plan for that backup for each situation. So I think it actually did more good than bad.
Oh, wow.
We talked about this with Nate, I think, where it's like different guests that we had on. Sometimes when like you've experienced these heartbreaks or relationships like end and stuff, it forces you to like look at yourself, and it forces you to grow, and it pushes you towards like a different kind of like something you wouldn't have experienced without that, you know, relationship ending. Because I've experienced that too, and I used to be like, oh man, I can't wait till they break my heart. Like I just keep getting better. Like every single time I've had like a heartbreak or something like that was like really significant, it pushed me to like really looking at myself and trying to like shore up my like own mistakes or insecurities, stuff that I could work on. So I totally agree with like, you know, probably was a good thing.
Like in hindsight, I guess it's easier to say, but
Definitely in
those, like everybody's experienced it where you're just like laying in bed, staring at your ceiling, like thinking about fucking everything. And you're just like, bro, what is going on? Or like in the shower.
The shower one, yep. The hot water run on you.
And you've just been
head
standing
down.
there. You like lose track of time and then you like come back to it and you're like, oh shit, like how long have I been standing here? Like thinking about this. But I don't know. It's like weird because you're not gonna be like, oh, like, yeah, go get your heart broken and you'll learn a lot about yourself. But it's just bound to happen.
Yep.
If you're willing to, I guess, look inwards as opposed to just be like, oh, well, like, I'm gonna go get revenge or whatever. Like, I'm gonna, you know, make sure she sees me on social media and like all this shit. I'm just like, bro, like, that's some like childish shit.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess like just analyzing what led you to that point. Like it wasn't a single action. It was a series of actions by both of you that led you to a specific point. And what can you learn from those? Because it's never, a breakup is never just like right here. This is exactly why. It was, well, this was the straw that broke the camel's back, but then you did all these other things too, now that I'm thinking about it, that really pissed me off. And so, like, if that's the situation, then that's a lack of communication because I never knew that all these things pissed you off. And, like, yeah, and, like, you're justified for this one, but I didn't know about all that other stuff. And then you start to see them less as, like, an enemy and more of, like, a human where it's like, oh, like, yeah, like I'm calling it off, but like at the same time, like I need to communicate better because like I didn't do any of this stuff.
It seems like you have a good amount of like self-awareness and, you know, awareness of like your relationships. Is that something you've always had, or you built that, or?
I really got into like reading philosophy books, which was, I guess, odd. Like
I love philosophy.
and like listening to podcasts and stuff like that. But it was just, I guess, not being the victim.
Yeah.
It was like, you're responsible for everything that happens to you in your life, even if it's not your fault, but you're responsible for how you react to it. And if you really take that to heart, then it still sucks getting broken up with. It still sucks getting in that car accident, you know? But like, you can sit there and be pissed off at the other driver all you want. You ran the red light, you ran the stop sign, you did this. But like, what did you do?
Yeah.
Or like, where do you go from here? So it's like you get rear-ended. Like, yeah, that's just fucking annoying. You got to deal with the insurance company and go in to get a rental, and like you missed a day of work and your boss is pissed at you now. But it's like, okay, well, like, you're alive and shit happens, and your car is getting fixed and it didn't cost you any money. And so like, you were mad, but like, did that anger really solve anything? Like, at the end of the day, like, yeah, bro knows you're mad now. Like, you know what I mean? But like, you know, maybe he was texting and like didn't look up. Maybe that'll teach him to not text and drive anymore. Maybe it won't. Who knows? But again, like, you're responsible for your life.
And the way you react to events in your life.
Exactly.
You know, it's a lot of like stoicism. It's a lot of having like emotional control over like your reactions. Because there's little stuff in the day that are going to piss you off. Emails, people, work, accidents, whatever. But you choose how you decide to feel and respond to these kinds of things. I vibe with that. That's how I am as well.
And I guess it's just like removing the ego from the situation. Like, you get pissed off because somebody cut you off.
Yep.
Like, I've cut people off before on accident. It's not like I'm looking at that guy and be like, yo, fuck that guy, I'm gonna cut him off. Like, I really don't like that guy. It's like, you just do it accidentally, but then you get really pissed at somebody for doing it to you, like they meant to do it to you. Like, oh, I'm already having a bad day, and then this dude cuts me off. It's like, bro, they didn't mean to do it to you. Yeah. Maybe they just didn't see you. Maybe they didn't look in their blind spot.
Or maybe they deserve it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they were just trying to be a dick, you know? But I don't know. I guess like removing yourself and being like, bro, like, you're really not that big of a deal. Yep. Like, calm down is, I guess, another important aspect of it.
All right, so, you know, usually I would have a question to ask you, but I actually have something to comment on more. And, you know, kind of going back to your whole relationship when you found out that she possibly was cheating or already in a marriage. I'm saying one thing, right? I just want to get some more context. You said that you were 18 when you guys started dating, but did you guys meet when you were 18 too, or did she know you prior to that?
No, we met. I was like 18 or 19 when we met.
Okay, 18 or 19.
Because she was a bartender and I was a server.
Okay.
And I got that job like the summer after I graduated. Yeah, so I was 18 because it was the summer after I graduated high school.
Yeah, it's a classic love 18. Story. Coworkers, you know.
Yeah, and that I have no problem with, right? But when you said that she was 25 and you guys are dating 18, 25, and I'm just saying, like, again, I don't have anything against people who date younger. I've dated younger, but I think there is a certain phase in your life that you kind of have to go through when you're dating like someone that's younger than you for them to kind of match up. And I would say if you were to flip the script and say that, you know, you were 25 and you were dating her when she was 18, people would be like, what the fuck is going on, right? And I'm just saying that kind of person is probably the same fucking person that would cheat and have a fucking relationship with someone else. Because to me, I feel like there is like a moral compass when you look at things, right? And I would even be okay with justifying that age gap if it was like decades ago. But we live in a day and age where those things are brought to light all the fucking time. So in a way, it's like as human beings, and like I said, times evolve, we should know better, right? And I feel like I didn't say it earlier because you seem like such a nice dude that I feel like you wouldn't say it yourself, you know? And maybe you don't even think about it like that. But now to hear it, I'm just like, what the fuck, you know? Like, to me, that upsets me that if I were to be in her shoes and date like an 18-year-old, which I wouldn't, but assuming that I would do that, right? I would at least fucking not fuck this person up. Because you're 18, you're still so fucking malleable that it could definitely cause so much trauma to you. And like that's why I asked if like you healed like so soon after that. Or did it take you time, or are there things that you're still dealing with today that's lingering from that? Because that's fucked up, dude. That's fucked up that she did that, and that's fucked up that she probably took advantage of that. And anyone out there who's thinking about doing shit like that, if you fucking industry, while it is fucking legal, realize that it's your responsibility to take care of this fucking person who's in a phase of life that they're still learning. You know, they're still just, you're barely an adult, you know, even by American standards. You know what I mean? Like, you're barely an adult at that fucking point. Like, I don't think that was fair to you. And I'm glad that it seems like you've healed and you found someone that you could share your love with and, you know, be committed to. But fuck, dude, if it went the other way, I probably couldn't even blame you. You know what I mean? If it went the other way and you fucking like did not improve and your life fucking sucked, I'd be like, I could kind of see why, you know? And it goes back to maybe you had that mentality from reading all the philosophy's books, but that, yeah, your life is your own and, you know, everything's up to you, right? But sometimes when things like that happen, I wouldn't agree with that. I would say that it really is on the other person. You know what I mean? Like, it is a great way to take your power back in your life, but you can't exempt those people.
No,
you know what I mean?
I guess I just didn't want to give that satisfaction of being like, damn, like she had that much control over me. And like, nah, like, fuck you. Like, I'm still going to be fine.
Plot twist, his wife is 18.
Nah, she's older. She's only 3 months older than I am. So, you know, I learned.
Okay.
You can't go 7 years. You only got to go 3 months. Yeah.
I do think, I mean, I tell my friends this and stuff too, where it's like, I think it's weird when people date like way younger, and I know it's kind of expected for men to do that, where it's like, oh, she's like 7 years younger than you.
I thought you were gonna say she was 10. I was like, Jesus Christ.
No, I feel like it's so hard to find someone that's mentally matured, you know, with you or at your level when you're trying to date someone who's like 10 years younger than you. Like, there's so many experiences that you haven't had. And obviously that's like on the average, because not everyone has that same experience. Some younger people are more mature, you know? But I feel like it's just weird to me when I see these relationships that are so different in ages, you know. And sometimes I feel like the odd one out, because everyone's like, you know, most guys do date way younger than themselves, like, you know, 5, 7, 10 years, even more sometimes. But I'm like, dude, I, as a 32-year-old man, cannot imagine myself with like a 22-year-old. You know, that's just, it's weird. It's like a child.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I've had friends that are like that, and I guess I just hit them with, like, they'll tell me all this bullshit, and I was like, damn, that's crazy. Like, like, imagine, never would have expected that of somebody who's 7 years younger than you. You know what I mean? When it's like exactly what you would expect like a 19-year-old to be doing when you're 25. And, you know, just hear my friends complaining about, like, oh, she's doing this, she's doing that. I'm like, damn, that's crazy. Like, not my problem, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
married,
I'm just like, bro, like, you put yourself in this situation. I guess from what I've learned, like, you really find out how somebody's going to be between 20 and 22. Because that 21st birthday, especially if you're in a relationship, will make or break a relationship. And I feel like it's mostly guys who can't handle their, like, if a guy is 22 and can go out to bars and kind of like sneak his girl in because she's 20, let's say, then they can't handle when their girl turns 21 and wants to go out to the bars by herself.
Yeah.
I don't know why. At least from like my experiences, that's what it's been. Like, the guys are the ones that have all the trust issues. And also in my experiences, because the guys are usually fucking off. And they're just like, oh, well, like, if I'm doing this, like, I know how I am at bars, so that's how all guys must be at bars, and that's what's going to happen to her if she goes to the bar with her friends, especially if she's wearing that. Like, my wife goes to the bar, I'm like, later, bro, like, be quiet when you come home, I'm going to be sleeping. I'm like...
No trust issues here.
So I mean, bro, what's she going to do?
Yeah. No, I agree.
Like, what's the worst thing that she could do? Nothing that hasn't already been done to me. And so I'm just like, go have fun. But like, I don't know. I don't want to be there like text. Like, I don't want to be on my phone that much. Like, I don't need to know everything that you're doing. Like an update now and then would be nice, but like, I don't need to know. Like, you're a grown ass woman. Like, you can handle yourself or you can't. But like, you've never given me any reason not to trust you. So like, why would I just constantly stir the pot and expect an update every 20 minutes? Like, fuck that. Like, go have fun.
Do you find it hard to trust, to give that kind of trust with like your partner in the beginning? Is that something that she earned, or is that just how you are? You're willing to trust until someone fucks up.
I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like I just don't trust anybody, and that isn't good. But it also puts you in a situation where like you can't get hurt, and that's definitely a coping mechanism.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's like you like expect them to do something, and then that way when it does happen, you're just like, fuck it. Like I knew it was gonna happen at some point.
It's like you're prepping for it.
Yeah, which I mean isn't good, but it's not even like, I don't know. Like our life is so like enmeshed together that I just think like in general, when women cheat, it's for different reasons than guys. Obviously that's painting with a broad brush, but I just don't see her like fucking up the life that she has for like one night.
yeah.
And you know, if she does, then that's on you. Like I trust that she won't do that. And so I guess like my trust relationship with her is different than it is with most people. Because with most people, I'm just like, I don't trust you. Like, I can work with you. I can have a conversation with you. We can be friends. You know what I mean? But like, I'm expecting you to fuck up.
Wow.
Is that something that's happened? Like you've always been that way, or is that
Yeah. And maybe it's just because like some of my friends have done me pretty dirty in the past. But you know, not all of them. Like I have like a very small group of friends, and they're still my friends for a reason. But I don't know. I don't know if it's the best, but it's just me. It's not like advice to be like, oh,
Don't trust anyone.
Don't trust anybody. Like
TNB, trust
my
no bitch.
experiences have like led me to kind of be like that, where it's just like, oh, so and so did this. I'm like, oh well, knew that was coming.
So for your wife, was it? I'm assuming you didn't trust her at first either when you guys first met and everything. Did she like have to earn that trust with you, or is it just you just felt this person like this is the person for me because I can trust you? Like, was there some kind of like event or just her personality, something that like got you to that point? Because
I would say it would be a combination of both of those things. Like it wasn't like she just had to earn it. Like I felt comfortable with her. And she was just somebody who like never lied even about like little things up front, which I think definitely helped. Because I feel like little lies up front are like more detrimental than like huge lies later on.
as she builds up.
Yeah. And so it was always just like straight up. And there was never any real like dumb bullshit with her. She'd be like, oh, like I'm going to go to the bar with my friends. I'm like, all right, have fun. And then she'll be like, I'll probably be home like around 11, 11:30, like 11:10. Hey, like I'm leaving right now, just waiting for the Uber. And then it was like, okay, like you're not coming home at like 4 a.m. And I'll be like, where the fuck were you? Like nothing good happens at,
Nothing good happens after 2 a.m.
2? Is
3
it 2?
a.m.?
Is that when you're supposed to go home after the bars? Or at least in Cali, it might be 4 in like New York or some shit.
It's 4.
Bar's not my thing.
Yeah.
Like I can go and have fun,
Yeah.
but like I got friends that are like at the bar every weekend. I'm like, bro, like I don't know how you do this shit. Like,
I don't know, man. Just built different.
just
He
built
doesn't
for
get
it.
hangovers, so there's that.
No, bro, I just get tired.
Me too.
And then I feel like if I'm out that late, I sleep in too long. And then I just feel like I fucked off 2 days instead
Yeah.
of just like one.
And this is you sober. Like
Yeah.
Just being out late. Will
Yeah.
drain you to it. Wow. That's, yeah.
Well, because like I've been sober since I was, I don't know, it wasn't like a set date where I was like, this is it.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like a gradual thing. I think I was like 21 or 22 when I stopped drinking.
Like completely?
Yeah. Just like cold turkey.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
That's
So what do you do
wild.
when people tell you to drink or ask you to drink and stuff? Like you just, nah, man.
Well, like my friends that I've been around forever, like
they
they know.
Yeah.
But if it's somebody like that's newer to the group, like, hey, you want a beer? I'm like, nah, man, I'm good, thank you. Like,
People ever try and peer pressure you?
not anymore. Like when it first happened, they're like, come on, go get drunk. Like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, fool. Like,
Yeah. That's true. That is how it works. My brother doesn't drink. He's never really drank, and everyone in the group knows. So we just ask them to drive. Like we don't ask them to drink anymore. It's the other D, you know? So
That was like my first business right there, dude.
what do you mean?
Like all my homies would just hit me up to drive and or they would call me and be like, hey, like I'll give you $20 to come pick me. I'm like, all right, dude, this
Nice.
So I was like,
So you always been a businessman.
Yeah. And that's how you founded Uber.
I wish. I actually did work for this company that was founded around the same time as Uber. One of like a friend of a friend started it. It was called Drunk Rescue.
Oh, wow.
And it was like Uber, but we would drive your car home.
Oh.
And
So you would bike there?
no, so they had like a company car. They like scraped together like 10 grand and like put a down payment on this little Fiat. And then there was like a phone line that they would call, I don't know, it was like outsourced to like wherever phone companies outsource their shit to, like India or wherever. And they'd be like, hey, I'm at this bar, like I need a ride. And it's like, okay. Then like one person would drive the Fiat, drop us off, and then follow us home or follow us back to their pad in their car. I don't know what happened. I just remember picking the owners up from a Juicy J concert, and then like 2 weeks later they were like, yeah, we're done, bro. I was like,
Okay. That's actually crazy.
it was
because-
fun while it lasted.
They do that in China, but
Oh,
it's
do the same thing?
Not like that. So they'll do it with bikes. Like people will bike. Like it's kind of like Uber and stuff. And you'll be like, oh, I'm drunk at this place, and you're with your car there. So they'll come on the little bicycle and stuff, and it's like, put it back, put it in
Yeah.
your trunk, and then
Oh, okay.
drive you there, drop you off, and then bike wherever the hell they're gonna go next.
Yeah, you can't do
Good
that
extra-
out here. Hell no. You'll never get back to your business.
That's far. Like, yo, I'm in Long Beach, but like, damn, that sucks, bro.
Yeah.
I'm in Seal.
You know what? I maybe that business was just not viable at the time. Because how long ago was that?
Like 2013,
Okay, so
2014.
it's been about 10 years then. So the reason why I say that is because, you know, even when Uber first started, it wasn't really adopted right away, especially when it came to for the reason of drinking and driving, you know? Like now it's widely accepted, like, oh, if you're gonna go out and have a drink, like just call Uber. Like, why not? But I also have to notice that there's some people who are extremely stubborn about that, and they will not call Uber, and they will still drive. And then now it causes a lot of complications because usually you'll find the sober friend who will drive that car back, right? But you don't always have that, especially if it's like a big group of friends who are drinking. Like you're going to have one sober person drive 10 people back in a Fiat. You know what I mean? Like that
Yeah.
doesn't work. You know, we're not clowns. That shit don't work like that. So yeah, so me, just wrong time, you know me, right? Idea, just wrong time. Could still possibly happen because, yeah, some people, for whatever reason, they feel very unsafe when they're not around their car. They just feel like something's going to happen to their car. So, therefore, they have to take it with them everywhere, right? But if someone's going to be able to drive with them, maybe not a bad idea. But maybe also not a great idea. But, you know, the clientele's there. I feel like everything that we talked about that might have sounded kind of like dumb at the time, they became big companies. You know what I mean? Like you talk about Uber, you're like, oh, so it's like a taxi that you have on an app instead of you call them. And
But that's actually convenient if you think about it. 'cause
exactly.
If you're hammered, you're not trying to explain to somebody where you are. You just hit the app and it like
Yeah.
knows where. I've honestly never used Uber
Oh, really?
because when I stopped drinking before it came about, so I've never had a reason to use it.
But you never like traveled somewhere and not had a car and you just call up Uber? Oh, wow.
I mean, when I was in, like when I go to Europe, cabs, but it's like the transportation system there is different. So Uber really wouldn't work there because mass transportation in Europe is much better than it is here.
So you've never used an Uber. We're gonna call him
Is
Uber
there
right
Uber-
now.
is there
We're gonna
Uber?
call him an Uber right now.
Is there Uber in Vegas?
Yeah.
There is. Maybe I used it in Vegas,
Okay.
but not me using it. Like
Yeah.
I went
Someone
into a
called you
friend's.
Hotmail guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
okay.
I've never had the app. Like people are like, oh, like you get the free first ride or whatever. I'm like,
Yeah,
bro,
yeah.
I'm not downloading that and setting all that shit up. Like, just pay $10 to go here, bro.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. And plus, to be fair, I do group up all the rideshare apps as Uber. You know what I mean? Like, you know, there's no Uber in like Vietnam. It's like called Gojek or some shit like that, and that's what I use. You know what I mean? Oh no, it's called Grab. But you know, to me,
It's called
what I meant is
Grab.
Grab, like GRAB.
That's kind of sus.
Yeah, right.
Is it? I don't know. I mean,
I don't know.
Vietnam
I think in
sus.
Vietnam is probably Vietnam is sus, but maybe it means a little different in Vietnam, you know?
Maybe.
Because the locals use it, you know, you download when you're there for vacation, you come back, but it's mainly a local thing.
Okay.
And they're not like grab sound sus. It's probably not in their vernacular like that, right? Just not something to use. But
Or maybe it's an acronym.
it could be. I don't know too much about the company other than that it just picks me up.
I did want to ask you guys something from the topic we were talking about before about like dating, like younger and stuff. Do you guys need your partners to be malleable? Like, do you want to be able to shape your partner in a certain way? Because some of the guys that I've talked to and some of the people that tell me like why they date younger is because they want a girl who is more of a blank slate, more malleable, so they can like show them and teach them the things that they want. That's something that you guys
I've
relate
heard
to?
that. Relate to? I would say to a certain degree. Like, I don't want to date someone who's not going to learn shit from me because they just fucking think they know it all. Like, why the fuck would I, you know? And I love sharing that moment with them, you know? And they don't necessarily have to be young to do that. They just necessarily not know the things that I know. That's pretty much it. Like, when I was in that 10-year relationship, like, I learned a lot from her. She learned a lot from me. And I think now that we've separated, if we were ever to talk, not say as like a couple, because I would never get back together, but like there are things that we could learn from each other still, you know, even as like friends. And I view my friends even the same way. You know what I mean? Like, there's no one in my friend group or some like the people that I care about that I don't believe that I can contribute some value to. Right. And I think when I got out of those relationships, it's typically because now I feel like I no longer bring value to your life. Right? I can't show you something that you didn't know or help you through something that you couldn't figure out on your own. So yeah, I would say I can see why, you know, especially as males, like you kind of want to be the provider. And I don't even feel like that just about my significant other. I feel like that about my cousin. You know, I want to provide him value. You know, he's younger. And even if he wasn't younger, you know, like I still talk to my mom and dad about things that I'm like, let me show you this. You know, maybe you could do this or that. And they're obviously older than I am. So I think it is more of a question of value. Do you bring value and can they get something out of you and being around you? I would agree. And I feel like with life experiences, you have a lot more that you could contribute to someone. Hopefully, you know, being like a valuable person in society. You know, that's the way I would see it. But
I guess I never really want to shape anybody.
yeah.
Like, I want to find somebody who has similar values, but not like a carbon copy of me, because that'd be weird.
Yeah.
But then if you're like, I guess just using the example that you said where you're shaping somebody who's young, like they're valuing it because you value it, not because they do. And maybe because they are so young and they have this perception of, I can't lose him, he's everything, or her, or, you know, it goes both ways, where they'll do anything for you, not for them.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily want that. Like, I don't want anybody to be reliant on me. Like, even like my wife, I was like, I don't want you to need me. Like, that's too much pressure. Like, I need you to be self-sufficient. But like, we're here and, you know, we bring each other up, but like, I don't want you to need me because I don't need you. Like, well, we're both good and we're good together and what we have works and we're cultivating like an environment for success, not in this like weird power couple thing, but it's just like we work like well together and to be able to like live with somebody else. That's what I mean. But yeah, I wouldn't want to be like molding, like, I don't know. That's just like grooming somebody to be like, oh, like you need to value this because of this. And then people are like, well, why do you like that? And they're like, oh, well, because he said so. And like, that's just weird. That's like hella controlling.
One of my friends has a saying, I want, when dating someone, it's like, I want to be beer, not water. I want you to want me, not need me.
I feel like I hear that a lot said in different ways. You know, same thing. It's like, I don't want you to be dependent of me. I want you to know that you could depend on me. Like, that's two different things, right? Even though it sounds like so similar. And, you know, I think that's what it comes to, is because if we really look at what we need, you know, like food, water, or health, like things like that. That's like a necessity, right? But oftentimes people romanticize it, so they use it as, I wouldn't say like a weapon. Sorry for lack of a better word. They use it as a way to pull you in, reel you in more. Like, I need you, so therefore, like, you can't leave me because you are now a necessity to my life. When that's not the reality of things, Like the reality is like you want to be with me, and you desire to be with me. Not necessarily that it's a need, but it's hard for some people to discern from that because it is a very emotional place that you come from when people say that. It's very rare that people say it like, yeah, I need you. It's like, I need you. There's an emphasis on it because like they feel so strongly about it.
I need you.
But that's like the ultimate manipulation tactic.
It is, but
And
that's
it's like,
why it's hard because some people don't understand that's what they're doing because they see it so often in movies and maybe romantic novels that's how they feel they should really express their emotions, and that is a double-edged sword. It could keep this person here with you, but you're also doing something that's not really healthy to the relationship. And maybe that same person who's thinking that mindset is the reason why they have to say that. Like, if you say that to keep someone there with you, that means there's probably a lot more underlying issues why they want to leave that comes from that. I know people talk about like attachment. Was it attachment
Styles?
Is it attachment styles?
Depends, yeah.
Where it's like you have the avoidant kind.
Yeah, that's the styles.
Yeah, attachment styles. Can you elaborate on that more? Because I only know of a couple, which is the ones I've experienced.
It's just talking about the way you attach yourself to your partner and the way you kind of interact in that where some people are avoided in situations where it's like, you have something where you need to talk about and, you avoid these things. Or if you have something where it's like you're really needy about it and it's like, that's the way you show your love by like being like extra needy. I don't know the other ones either, but I know those two.
There's one that's supposed to like be really good or something like that. It's like
it goes 1, 2, 3, and then there's like there's codependent, and like obviously it's the same thing, and there's put it here.
Yeah, we're gonna have to look it up. We'll link the video
right here.
We're not experts, but it's good to know. So we'll put it in the video after we put it in the edit. It's super interesting to hear about that because you're just kind of taught to communicate through that kind of like attachment language, right? Where like needs and wants and desires like kind of mixed and kind of confusing. But as we grow up, we understand like what's more manipulative. But I also do think because it's more broadly known about now that people are gonna adjust. The people who are the manipulators, they're not gonna quite say that. I'll just be honest because like I'll be honest. Like I've been manipulative. I've said shit like that. You know what I mean? To like that's why that relationship lasted almost 10 years. Like I know that I shouldn't have done that, and unfortunately, like I was that fucking person at one point in my life. But I also know that I hear about it a lot from people, and therefore, if I wanted to be, I could be also still a manipulative person, just navigating it through a sea of people who might be more woke about the situation, But I think one of the reasons why I say this is because you spoke about how like it's really hard for you to trust people, and because now more than ever, I feel like it's hard to kind of see through what is genuine and what's not, because people are so good at like navigating through all these words because it becomes like well known for everyone to see what people talk about and how they like express themselves. Like it sounds almost like dark because to hear that, and just like when you said that Mario's expression, I got the same feeling. Like you said, it's easier for you to kind of stray away from it and not get hurt in prep, and like yeah, it sucks because you yourself said it's like this might not be the best way for me to think about it, but that's me right now. That's how I feel. And obviously, I'm not here to change your life. I'm just trying to understand. Like, I just want to understand. Possibly if I was in your shoes, like I might think the same too. And I hope that someday you understand like what works best for you. And right now, this might be exactly what you need. But I don't see you as that person. Like you seem like such a kind dude that to me it doesn't make sense. And the only thing that makes sense is like, oh shit, like he's been through some stuff that makes him feel like that, And obviously now going back to like you know, that fucking, I don't even want to say that, like the name that I want to call her, just that person that dated you when you were fucking
That
younger.
beep.
Yeah, yeah. You know, like I kind of see like why you feel like that. And it, I don't even know how to explain it, but it's like hurt people, you know? So it's like maybe she was going through some shit. And it doesn't justify what was going on, right? Does it? Like she fucked up. And like to leave this on you, that sucks. And I don't get the feeling that you do that, right? Like you're going to stop it right there. Like this is not, I'm not going to reenact what she did just because she did it to me. But that does happen a lot where people get cheated on and they tend to also cheat. Right, and I don't feel like that's the case with you. But again, I don't fully know you. I'm just talking to you right now.
No,
I'm just
I mean,
elaborating what I think.
Like that shit sucked. Like I don't want to put anybody else through that.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, I guess like hurt people if you don't know how to deal with your shit.
mm-hmm.
And like that's not like swinging down. It's just like you getting hurt and then going out and hurting somebody else is not making anybody in the situation feel good.
Yeah.
Like you're going to look back and be like, damn, I was probably a piece of shit. She's going to look back at you and be like, yeah, he was a piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're both going to look at the other girl and be like, damn, she was probably a piece of shit. But I don't know. Everybody's got stuff in their lives going on behind closed doors. Not that it makes the action itself better, but I guess it's, again, how you respond to it. Like if you're going to, I was actually talking about this with my friend, sort of related, but unrelated. Like if somebody steals from you, you think they're a thief and you don't like that. And while the action itself is wrong, you don't know why that person is stealing. Like maybe that was how they provided for themselves and their family growing up because their situation was not as good as yours growing up with both your parents in a house in Huntington Beach.
Yeah.
Both with stable jobs. Like, you know, like I was blessed, like very fortunate, but other people weren't. And so just understanding that, and again, not saying that the action itself is right, but then teaching to be like, look, you don't need to do this. If you want X, Y, or Z, this is how you can approach me to get it. Or like ask for it. Or, you know, like if you want an extra $1,000 a month, then like this is what you need to do for me to provide that value. So that way you don't have to steal anything type shit. So I just feel like there's always a bigger picture that when you step back and look at the situation, you can like paint it, but it's like opaque. Like you can see somewhat the bigger picture, but you'll never know the details until you talk with that person, if you ever do. But I think just acknowledging that there is a bigger picture is, I guess, part of just being able to cope with shit that does happen to you.
So we had a pretty little good convo off camera that I wanted to, reintroduce. We were kind of talking about the way, like, emotions and ideas, like how we take them in. And I wanted to ask your opinion because you said something very, very, very like wise, very poignant.
I just feel like, I think this is what we're talking about. Like there's no original idea or that you are not your idea. Yeah. Like all the ideas that have ever existed or will ever exist. And you just tap into that stream of ideas with whatever other knowledge you have available to you at that time. Like the idea isn't yours. It's just what you believe in right now because of the knowledge that you have. But I just feel like people get offended very easily because they feel like they are their ideas, which I don't know. I just don't subscribe to that, I guess.
Yeah, same.
Like I'm not so firm on this is how I am and this is how I'll always be. It's like, this is how I am right now because of this, but I know that there's other possibilities and I'm open to it.
It's similar to like mine where I like Like I said, I feel like people are mirrors and we reflect these ideas, thoughts, emotions. That doesn't mean that we are those ideas, thoughts, or emotions, but there's a step that takes to becoming kind of like self-aware of that. And that's why I feel so many people like get stuck on being like, oh, I am this emotion or I am this like idea. And it goes with like, you know, you're sometimes like you said, people vote for this and they're like, oh, there's no way I can see why this person like voted for that. And like, I hate them or I don't like them, you know, but it's like, it takes that extra step to like, get yourself out of that like kind of like space where it's like you think you are the thoughts that you're thinking, or you think you are these emotions that you're feeling when you're really not. You know, they all pass through the stream of consciousness of life and stuff, and you can tap into these things, but you can tap out, and I think that makes the difference.
Yeah, the voting one to me is really funny because I just feel like it gets blown way out of proportion.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter which side. It's just, I just feel like most people that vote for one person or the other because of one thing. And it's different for everybody, but it could be like, oh, I like their position on taxes, or I like their position on foreign policy, or I like, you know, their position on the lower class or their position on the upper class. It's like they're not thinking of the whole thing in general. They're like, this person represents my interests the best right here, so that's who I'm voting for. And then there's like a million other things that like people are like, well, you support this or that or this or that. I'm like, bro, no, like it's just like I liked this. Like that was it.
And it's subjective to what you value, you know?
100%. I mean, let's be honest, we're kind of fucked either way.
Oh, yeah.
Every year. So
And that's the end of the podcast.
And we're canceled.
I did want to ask, since you spoke about like having values with like your wife, like that being the primary thing that drove you guys to kind of be together. So I want to ask a little, how did you guys meet? Like, you know, what's your guys' origin story?
one of my friends from high school was in this like cornhole league, because that's what you do, I guess, when you're becoming an adult. Like you get excited about like scrub daddy sponges and fucking
So it's
like adult softball leagues and shit.
I thought that was an innuendo at first, like cornhole league. I was like, okay, never mind.
No, like
Sure.
shit.
Just kidding.
Like it was every Thursday night, and you go and play cornhole and like actually like throwing beanbags at planks of wood, not innuendos.
I was like, where's he going with this?
And he was just like, oh, okay, well, there's this girl there that I think you would like. And I'm like, damn, bro, like cornhole though? Like I don't know. Like it's not something, it's like something you do at a barbecue, but not something I'm like, yeah, I'm going to spend my Thursday night playing cornhole.
Yeah.
Or like watched on ESPN on like Thursday mornings.
ESPN too.
Yeah. And so she was there, started talking. And then she actually had like a boyfriend. She had a guy that she was talking to at the time. And, you know, so I let her make all the moves. And I guess like at the time I subscribed to the idea is like, I'm not going to burn your house down, but like I'll bring the gas. Like, but you got to do it type shit. So I was like, yo, like it got to a point where we were talking for like a couple months and I was just like, yo, like it's either gotta be me or him. I was like, make the choice, like nut up. And I was like, there's no wrong answer. I was
Light
like,
the fire.
Yeah, I was like, either light the fire or give me my gas bag because that shit's expensive right now. And so she made her choice, and that period of time is where like I was in my I expect you to fuck up like trusting phase. Because at that point, like it wasn't like I wouldn't say it was nothing, but it was nothing. Like I wouldn't let myself cross like an emotional boundary with someone who wasn't also willing to go that far. Because then you're just setting yourself up for failure. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, show me that you're willing to take the risk in like a relationship or stop wasting my fucking time. Basically. One thing led to another, we got married. Again, like I didn't feel comfortable like continuing knowing that she was also possibly talking to somebody else.
Yeah.
And again, not that anything was official, so like I don't view her negatively for it. Like if you're just like dating around, you're free to talk to whoever you want to, and that's what it was. But I was just like, look, like make your decision. Like, don't string either of us along.
Yeah.
I was like, just make a choice and go with it. If it's me, cool. If it's not me, cool. Like, just make up your mind. And she made up her mind, and we
Nice.
just got married the next day. No, I'm just kidding. No, I mean, like, just dated and then moved in together, and then was just like, fuck it, let's get married. And then we went to Hawaii and got married by a legal ordained minister in Hawaii for sure. No. So our friend who actually introduced us is ordained, became an ordained minister so he could not marry his cousin, but like perform the wedding for his cousin. There we go. I want to make sure that was.
I'm glad we clarified everything we're talking
So
about.
that you could
His friends from Alabama.
Texas, not far off, but no. So like so that he could perform the wedding.
Yeah.
He's not married to his cousin.
Shout out to
I'm not gonna. I can't put his name out there like that, bro. So he actually married us, but I didn't know this at the time, but you can like go to some like online church and just like give them $40 that goes straight to Jesus, and they can make you an ordained minister.
Universal Church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
I can marry you guys right now.
I'm already married, bro.
Yeah, it's too late, bro.
So we're like, it'd be cool if like he could marry us, but I guess it's like it varies by state. So like he would have had to have like paid again, and I was just like, nah, bro. So like we like legally got married here at the courthouse, and then had like a ceremony in Hawaii.
Oh, that's cool.
It was like small. It was like my family and like 5 friends, which was perfect, and it cost us $0 thanks to rewards points from Chase. For the business experience, because I was out there meeting with I actually was, and it just never panned out. But
The wedding charged his business card.
no, we literally just rolled up to the botanical gardens and was like, yo, make this quick before they like come and kick us out, because I don't know. And so my friend just did it really quick. It was like 15 minutes, and then we just went and ate. It was perfect.
That's perfect.
Nice.
Yeah.
I got friends who spend like $80K on a wedding.
I mean, that's cool and all. If like I'd rather put $80K into a house.
Yeah.
I don't know. I never felt like, and we agreed on this, is like the wedding, like big weddings like that are never for you. It's for everybody else. Because it's like, I don't know. Same shit happens.
That's true.
Like you get married, but I don't know. To each their own on that aspect. Because I've had friends that have spent $65,000-$70,000 on like venues and like all this like extravagant shit, and I'm just like, I mean, whatever makes you happy, bro. Like it ain't my money, so.
True.
But yeah, so nothing crazy, but I think we were there for like 2 weeks. Something like that. Stayed with some friends, and then she'd never been, so I was like, you need to do like the super touristy stay in Wykes at the Hilton. Like just full experience. So like we stayed, family friend stays in, where does he stay now? He used to live in Y&I, would that be a little much for her right off the bat, the west side of Oahu. But he stays in Pearl City now.
Yeah. Nice.
So stayed there for like a couple of days, and then stayed in Wykes. And so she got the whole from the west side to the east side experience.
Nice.
I think for me and Peter both were like, happy to see that you got your, after the shit you went through, to got at least like, you found that happy ending that's still, continuing.
Yeah. And I mean, not to make it sound like anything crazy. Like I'm sure there's dudes out there and girls who got it way worse than I did.
Oh,
but
Oh yeah.
it was just shit you got to overcome in life, I guess. And everybody's
100%.
trials are different, but that was mine. And it's weird because like I don't really think about it that much, but you guys just had to go digging.
No, we love that you shared, man. Like that was
Yeah.
awesome, to be honest. Like
Thank you.
it's not about the craziest thing ever. It's really about you and your story, because there's gonna be someone who relates to that more than the craziest shit out there. That's not what we're here to do. That's not the point of the podcast at all. I'm just learning about all the different walks of life, and for me, like, I've never heard of anything like that. That's news to me, and I'm just here from a place of understanding, and now I get it a little bit better, because a lot of the things that you address and a lot of things that I discuss, my ideas now align with it. For me, like I said, if I were to be in your shoes, I would probably be really fucked up. But that's not the case for you, and it shows me that you can get out of it. You can be better, and it doesn't have to like destroy your life as it does someone else, and you don't have to hurt other people like you've been hurt. And I think that's really more what it's about than anything. So thanks for sharing. We appreciate it, and I'm glad that you opened up, and hopefully you kind of understand a little bit of the both of us more now too. Now that we got get to discuss and know each other a little bit better.
Definitely.
Thank you for coming on, bro.
Thank you for having me on, guys.
All right, guys, welcome back to Lightning Round, where we ask our guests some rapid fire questions. And if they don't answer, they got to drink. Mike, are you ready?
Yes.
All right, 3, 2, 1. What's your favorite color?
Black.
Ooh. If you weren't doing what you do now, what would you be doing?
Probably still working in the hospital.
Okay. If you were a DJ, what would your DJ name be?
Fuck.
Still got to answer.
Just my name.
All right, DJ Mike.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite article of clothing? Like from a brand or anything, like a grail piece that you...
I really like this foul play jacket. And I have a FTP shirt that I really fuck with from like way back in the day. Like 2013 FTP.
Damn.
It's you can fill in the name of the school if you fuck with the brand, but it's something physical education tee.
When was your first kiss?
In church, I think I was in like 7th or 8th grade.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I used to go to church every Sunday with my mom.
Oh.
And there was this girl there, and I was like, yo. And then it was like during church, and I was like, this is
Ooh, that's bad.
Yeah.
Jesus is watching.
Jesus is not stoked on me.
When's the last time you cried?
I can't even remember, bro. It's been at least... Actually, no, I can't remember now. One time, it was like a year ago.
What makes you happy?
Honestly, I guess personal happiness isn't something I really like think about. What makes me happy? I like cool experiences I get to go on like with my wife.
Okay.
Like when we go on like road trips, like we really like the Central Coast. So like just going there and like finding something new that we both really like, or like a new hike or some shit like that we both really enjoyed. Like that's what makes me happy.
Okay. Perfect number of kids.
I got 3 dogs right now, so I'm chilling with that.
Which one's your favorite?
We have this like coonhound mixed with a wiener dog mixed with, I don't know. He's just got a crazy personality. He's my favorite. His name's Cash.
Oh. Do you have a fetish?
No. I mean, sex is cool and all, but then like, have you guys ever had like a really good night of sleep? Like,
I've been wanting one of those for a long time.
yeah, me too. So
my last question is, what's one goal that you have for the year that you want to accomplish?
I would like to spend more time with my family, like with work and being married and everything. Very busy, and it's not that like I intend to ignore them, but it ends up happening. So I'm trying to see them at least 3 times a month. So we've been pretty good about going over for like dinners on the weekends, but just keep that up and actually maintain a relationship with my family instead of just like,
I like that.
All right, Mike, what's your favorite brand?
I'm a little biased, but foul play.
Okay. What's one thing you need to do before you die?
Unique to do before I die. I'd like to go to space.
Oh,
Dang.
Yeah.
that's cool.
That definitely might be the last thing you do before you die. What's your favorite cuisine?
I feel like it shifts. Right now I've been eating a lot of Mexican food.
You said you live predominantly in California, right?
Yeah.
If you had to live somewhere else, where would that be?
Like another state or another country?
Either.
I have a lot of friends in Phoenix, so I'd moved there for the friends, not the heat. But I really liked Switzerland. So either like Lucerne in Switzerland or Innsbruck in Austria.
Okay.
Somewhere.
Austria.
It's like big, but it's not big.
Got it.
Like the landscape is big, the cities are small.
Yeah. And for my final question, what is one piece of advice you give to the designers out there?
Don't overlook the little things because someone will catch it. Not in terms of a design, but just don't sidestep the little things to get something done faster. Because sometimes done is better than perfect, but most of the time it should be done perfect. Nito?
All right, guys, that concludes our lightning round. I want to say thank you to our very special guest, Mike. Let us know where we can find you.
I'm on Instagram, but I like to live in reality, so I don't really post shit on there. But you can find me somewhere on that app.
So, man, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Mike, for sharing everything, for being so vulnerable in a way where I felt like you might have never opened up like that before. And we appreciate you for it. And we appreciate you guys for watching the podcast all the way through to get here. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment below what you guys want us to talk about next. And remember, live fast, eat ass.